guys, Nelson here, and I decided for my first YouTube video, I wanted to talk about my favorite event of the year. In case it wasn't obvious, that's right, Halloween Horror Nights. Tomorrow is Halloween Horror Nights 31, and I am beyond excited. So I wanted to kind of do a hype list and talk a little bit about where my love for Halloween Horror Nights even came from. So I guess the best way to begin this video is kind of talking about my background. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of Halloween, thus the tree in the back. I had a huge love for roller coasters and theme parks. As a kid, I even lived in Florida, in Orlando, and had Universal Studios down the road. So disclaimer, I didn't live my entire childhood in Orlando, but I did live there for a short period of time. But my love for theme parks and roller coasters always existed. And my mom used to actually buy me like roller coaster books, and I would watch Travel Channel religiously, Thrills, Chills, and Spills, and they would do like these documentaries on like Universal Studios and theme parks around the world. So around Halloween time, they would also do documentaries or like these shows about haunts. And one of those haunts was Halloween Horror Nights. So even though I was like terrified of these places, I really loved the idea of haunted houses. And watching the documentary, I fell in love with Halloween Horror Nights. I was like, this place looks incredible. It's somewhere I want to go, but I'm terrified to actually do it. As I got older, I would still continue seeing these commercials and these advertisements for Halloween Horror Nights, but I didn't have the money or the resources to actually visit. So it just remained one of those things on my bucket list. When I actually became a flight attendant, that changed. On one of my layovers, my dream finally came true. My first event ever, Halloween Horror Nights 25. Then Halloween Horror Nights 26, and last year's Halloween Horror Nights 30. And then I think the most obvious statement in the room is I became addicted to the event, and now I look forward to going to it every year, especially as an annual pass holder. Which now brings us to Halloween Horror Nights 31 in 2022, in my hype list. So without dragging this on any further, let's get started. So for those who've been like following the Halloween Horror Nights updates and house reveals, my number 10 is gonna be Hellblock Horror. I am excited to see what they kind of do with this one, but we do know it's kind of a replacement for Evil Dead. And with that being the case, not sure they had a lot of time to kind of like flush this one out. But I'm not totally without hope. I think Universal Creative is gonna find a great way to, bring this house to life. I'm really excited to see what they do with it, but it's still gonna remain at my number 10 spot. Number 9 on my list is Descendants of Destruction. Now the reason I'm placing here at number 9 is because this house doesn't necessarily get me like super excited. I know there are some die-hard Halloween Horror Nights fans who are thinking this might be a very close or direct sequel to Seeds of Extinction, but that's a house I don't know. So that's not to say I'm not excited about it, it's just not gonna be on the top of my list. Now number 8, Bugs Eaten Alive. So the reason this house is closer to the bottom of my list is because I'm absolutely terrified of it. I'm definitely excited for what they're gonna do, but I'm also extremely terrified. Like most people, I don't like bugs, and from what I'm hearing, it might set off one of my phobias. So I'm really worried about it, but I'm definitely gonna do it, of course. But yeah, I'm gonna have to say it's number 8. Now my number 7 pick may not come as a big surprise to a lot of HHN fans. It's gonna be The Horrors of Blumhouse, featuring The Black Phone and Freaky. Now, while I actually enjoyed these movies, The Black Phone, it was an incredible film, and Freaky was definitely a great time and a lot of laughs. My bias or my worry about this house comes from the fact that a lot of people in the past have said the Horror of Blumhouse houses have not been good. So while I do promise to come into the house with an open mind, I do have my concerns, and as from what I've heard, justifiably so. One of my biggest concerns about it is The Black Phone, and it's because if you've seen the movie, you know that a lot of the movie takes place in one particular room. And from what I've heard, Blumhouse had this issue with Happy Death Day, and they had it become very repetitive. So that is one of my biggest concerns, but otherwise, I'm really eager to see how they translate this into a house. And that brings us to number 6, Fiesta de Chupacabras. In reality, I'm super excited about this house. I think they're gonna use puppets. I'm hoping that they represent the culture correctly and respectfully, but I think it's gonna be a great house. It's gonna remind me of my very first house, which was An American Werewolf in London, and I'm really excited to see what they do with this. The only reason this house is in my number 6 spot is because I have 5 other houses I'm a little bit more excited about. Coming in at number 5 is Spirits of the Coven. And what's not to be excited about? This takes place in the 1920s in a speakeasy with flapper witches. I honestly think this is gonna be an amazing house. I think Universal Creative is gonna have so much fun with this. I can't wait to see the costume designs, the makeup they're gonna use. I'm, again, thoroughly excited about this one. The only reason, again, it's at number 5 is because there's 4 more that I'm a little bit more excited about. But again, this is going to be a great house. I'm eager to see what they do with it. Now, number 4 brings us to the man, the myth, the legend, the shape. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Myers comes home in Halloween. As many HHN fans already know, they did this house back at HHN 24. But again, that was a year right before I went. So I'm really excited to see what they do with this. I love Michael Myers. I love the Halloween films. And going back to the original is going to be amazing. They are doing this house in a soundstage, so it's going to have a lot of room. I'm hoping for like an amazing facade, especially if it's the Michael Myers house. I think it's going to be incredible. Can't say enough. Now at number 3, I have Dead Man's Pier. Now this house takes the number 3 spot. And it's because I've seen what they did with the Scare Zone, Dead Man's Wharf, and they have so much potential with this being a house and having a lot more opportunities to really like delve into the story. And they're gonna do such an incredible job with the makeup, the costumes, the set design. I think it's gonna be this amazing, beautiful house, and I'm really excited to see what they do with it. It's gonna be incredible. Yeah, number 3. And obviously taking my number 2 spot is The Weeknd. I'm a fan of his music, and I'm excited to see what The Weeknd and Universal do to collaborate and create this After Hours nightmare. I actually had the pleasure of seeing him in concert real recently in Dallas. It was an incredible show, so I already have a little bit of a taste of what I think is going to be incorporated into the house. Outside of that, I think based on his music video, you have a chance, make sure you do watch those, but they give you a really good insight into what he's going to possibly do with this house. I think it's going to be incredible. I'm beyond excited as a Weeknd fan, and I think this is going to be one of the best houses of the year. Which brings us to our number 1 spot. At number 1, I have Legends Collide. I think the reason this takes my number 1 spot is fairly obvious. We're talking about the Universal monsters here. This is Dracula, the Mummy, the Werewolf. I'm positive it's a safe bet to say Universal's going to do an incredible job representing their horror icons. And who doesn't want to see these 3 titans of horror battle it out? I honestly don't see Universal cutting any corners with this house. I think they're going to treat it with the utmost respect. They're going to give it the biggest budget. They're going to do everything right by this house, and the reason why it's my number 1, because they're going to just do an amazing job. This is their baby, and you're going to see it. So there it is, guys. My hype list for HHN 31. I absolutely love this event. I'm super excited to be there. I will be there closer to the end of September and also going back in October. And if I can fit it in a little bit more, I plan on doing so. I also got my frequent fear pass, so I plan on going as much as humanly possible. I do want to give a quick shout out to the podcasts HHN 365 and the RIP Tour. They are awesome. I love the hosts. I love listening to them. They give so much great information about HHN, and they're so fun to listen to. So if you get a chance, definitely check them out. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Leave comments. Tell me your hype list. I'm really excited to share this event with a lot of other people and fans around the world. I think it's an incredible place for us to all connect, and I'm so excited to see y'all in the fog. I'm looking forward to it. So again, like and subscribe if you did like this video. If you want more information or more content about HHN or Universal Studios in general, I'm looking forward to making more videos about it and making content about my trips out there. So again, thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the fog.